This week on the Reel Watchlist Plus, we're doing the screwball rom-com His Girl Friday from 1940. A newspaper editor uses every trick in the book to keep his ex-wife, who's a crack reporter, from quitting and remarrying a Casper milquetoast insurance salesman. He uses an exclusive story about a death row convict as an enticement to buy himself some time to win her back. And this stars Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell.
Audience members, if you're watching us, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and offer a comment below. If you liked it, you didn't like this episode, let us know what you think. Or if you have insight to this episode, we'd like to hear it too. So don't forget to hit that button below. So today's Sinip is kind of a mashup between a highball and a screwdriver. So what happens when you mix a madcap comedy like this with a little screwball type of comedy? You make a classic screwball. So this is a combination, a mashup of bourbon, orange juice, club soda. It can substitute it for vodka if you want to sort of upgrade it. But because we're going into a classic movie and a time period, bourbon was very popular at that time. So let's take a sip.
And plus there's lunch. Right here.
Is lunch, yes, or if you have a diabetic sugar drop.
See what happens here.
Have the lemon, whatever. What is this thing? Good.
I think I can drink it.
You think you can? I should have put a straw in there. So note to self.
I do have straws in my purse, but I'll bring them out later.
Yeah, bring them out later.
Originally, Ginger Rogers was cast because
she wanted to be with Cary Grant.
Well, she wanted to be with Cary Grant, and she
didn't even know. She didn't know. That's right. I'm sorry. She didn't know. She didn't know. She was upset when she found out later.
Very upset. Absolutely right. And Rosalind Russell was so worried about being with Cary Grant that she hired a writer to put her own snappy dialogue in because she was worried that she would pale in comparison.
Yeah, she asked her brother-in-law for a recommendation. But they didn't know that on the set.
And Howard Hawks, who's a great director, did one of my favorite movies, real hokey, but Hatari with John Wayne. Absolutely love it.
Hatari?
Yeah, Hatari.
That was a game that I played in the 80s. Remember Hatari?
Henry Mancini's soundtrack. He didn't want her because he didn't think she was pretty. He thought she had a sagging gel, and he had to keep readjusting the lighting to make her look good.
What's a sagging gel?
Probably, I don't know. And he also found her annoying and tedious. He just did not like her. But she was in it. And frankly, were you happy with her in that part?
Yes, I was, because I think it was a breakout film for her, as a lot of other reviewers have noted. And I thought that for someone who was relatively an unknown at that point, to be in that position to share the marquee, so to speak, with Cary Grant, I think that's an accomplishment. For the fact that she was also able to keep up with the tempo of the film and of the dialogue.
Right.
That is an incredible talent.
Well, that's the thing. We're talking about the dialogue. Normal dialogue is 90 words a minute. This film was 240.
Ah!
You're like a brilliant person. I love you. And that was really something.
So the premise of the story is really a take on the play, The Front Page. You have a reporter, Rosalind Russell, who was married to Cary Grant. You know, they're divorced, but now she's introducing her new beau, Ralph Bellamy, into the picture. She's an ace reporter. She knows how to get the story, and you learn that the two, Cary Grant, Walter Burns, and Hildy, sort of feed off each other. And they're able to sort of get the news. And you find out that, you know, the news is not really what you think it's all about. To them, it's about, you know, the news story, how to exploit it, how to, almost like the Star in the Parade, if anyone remembers those rag mags, how to exploit people's feelings and the truth. And that's the whole premise of the movie. That they actually even say in the beginning that this is sort of not a reality, but maybe a reality, sort of a play on the news. Rosalind, Hildy, has the bite, the reporter bite. But now she's going to give up all of that for her new love, who actually does love her, who dotes over her.
And he's kind of boring.
He's boring, but she's looking for a different life,
She
maybe.
wants to settle down and have the white picket fence.
Come to find out that there's a breaking story. Yeah. There's an execution that's going to take place. And there's drama behind it because the person that's getting executed is being finger-pointed as the murderer, but there's a love interest as the news reported. But this poor girl that wants to help out this guy, and she's really upset that the news has taken a story and twisted it, and here we are.
And all the characters are kind of repellent in this. Mm-hmm. They're up for themselves. They're selfish. They say anything to get what they want. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if Cary Grant loves her that much. He just kind of wants her as the reporter. I think the paper back then was more important than anything to them.
Yeah, he's kind of a douche in this movie.
Yeah, he really is.
He's really just using Hildy because of her talents, because she can get a story like no other for his paper. Cary Grant, Walter Burns, is playing a sellout. He'll do anything to get a paper. Matter of fact, there's this one scene where he tells one of his reporter colleagues that the governor is not going to stay the execution, and Walter Burns responds that, well, then we'll endorse him. Just tell him we'll endorse him. Stay the execution. And he goes, but we're a Democrat paper. And he's like, that's okay. We'll just change after that. That's the part of the story I love. When you go back into the 40s and look at this movie for what it was, what the story was telling us, it's the same stories that we live with today.
We're repeating history.
Yeah, the news hasn't changed. 3, 2, 1. Whoa. And here I'm thinking you're going to go higher. I did a 7. Debbie did a 6. Interesting, because I really thought your score was going to be higher.
All right.
Let's see why.
That's amazing.
And do you know what my picture is?
Yeah, it's a newspaper.
Okay.
See, we're cloning in a way.
You're learning my art.
Maybe not good, but I do know your art. Yes, I do. You're the Andy Warhol of classic cinema.
Yeah, my 5 minutes of fame.
I don't like about it because I watched it a long time ago, forgot about it. Never really. I don't like Rosalind Russell. She was great in Gypsy later on. She was the mom. She was Rose. Okay. Great part. I'm not in love with her. I thought I should talk. She was kind of a horsey person. She wasn't, sexy or
horsey person.
Well,
what,
like
you gonna put a saddle on her, ride her away?
No, she wasn't really, curvaceous or like some of the other people we do in films. And I thought that the dialogue, even though it was good for its time, was annoying.
Very annoying. I had a problem with the dialogue.
I was so annoyed with it. And I watched it once, since we've been doing this, and then I watched it again. And the two versions that I did watch, one was corrupted so badly, because this really, I think, was another problem with copywriting again.
Well, they talk about that in my research, that there was a copyright lapse, so everyone got their chance at it. And they tried to colorize it. The first version I was watching, it was colorized, and all of a sudden the color went out, and it went back in.
It was real shitty, the first version I watched. And then the second version I watched was better. And of course, when it's done better and reproduced better, or originally, you can withstand the recitative that they just talk, blah, 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 blah. And I just thought it was, I was not loving it.
Yeah, I was annoyed with the first probably 30 minutes because I was trying to figure out what this movie was about. And the talking is so rapid, and they're talking over each other, sort of like what we do. But they actually did it on purpose. They actually were instructed, were directed, and trained to have these one-liners back and forth, back and forth. It was a different type of movie for that matter. And as you said, there was
and then
dialogue.
It was like groundbreaking, so everybody thought, but when you watch it now, it's like, I didn't really like the film.
But if you noticed, there was no music except for the beginning and end, no score in the because of the dialogue.
Right. It just would have been too heavy. There's two scenes that I thought were so weird in it. One was they go out to lunch, and Cary Grant wants her to stall and not go off with Ralph Bellamy. And they go to the restaurant and they order a roast beef sandwich. Did you see the plate? It doesn't have roast beef. It comes with like mashed potatoes, and they're all eating with a knife and a fork, and they ordered a roast beef sandwich and coleslaw. And I go, why would they That is so crazy. It's not like they asked for pheasant under glass or roast duck with, bigarod sauce. And the other thing, there's a whole thing about this guy, did he kill a person or whatever? And when they look out the window of the newsroom, there's a hangman's gallows right out the window. I'm going, what the hell is
How
that?
convenient.
Like, it's like a room outside with a hangman's gallows, and they're going to hang him and right outside the reporter. And then at the end of the movie, she's totally against being with Cary Grant because she sees him as shallow and manipulative. And in like 1 second, she decides, okay, I do love him.
I didn't like it for that reason, too. At the end,
she like blows off, and they almost kill Ralph Bellamy's mother.
Yeah, and they had her portrayed as such a strong woman.
Yeah.
Had her own mind. She was going to change her life. And then at the end, all of a sudden, she like falls back for Walter Burns.
But that's like the whole movie thought how clever it was. And it was so clever. And I think that it was maybe clever for the time, but in this day and age, I just found it a little bit tedious.
It's a hard watch if you're not used to screwball comedies. And this, as many of the reviewers have said, this sort of was the typical example, the standard for a screwball comedy, this fast-paced dialogue back and forth, and it could get quite annoying.
You know who I thought would have been better?
Who? Then Cary
Clark
Grant?
Gable. I do. Because Clark Gable had a great comedic timing. He was more commanding. He was more... I mean, Cary Grant's commanding, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But Clark Gable is more of a crossover type of person where you see him running a newspaper. I just didn't buy Cary Grant as heading a newspaper.
Joe's thing. Here's your question.
Yeah.
I can't. I actually have to change the question because you mentioned it earlier in the episode. So I'm going to recover by finding another question.
Okay, I'm going to eat my orange right up. Oh, good orange.
Thank you.
Starving all the time. Just make something up. I'll probably not get it anyway.
Oh, okay.
I've desecrated this drink.
So, Deb, here's your question. An observation if you watch this movie closer. If you notice, there's two main characters of the film who are taller than everyone else. This film is filled with shorties. Who are those two actors? And if you remember their characters, that's fine too. I'll give you the pass.
I have Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell.
One right, one wrong. You're one for wrong.
Okay, give me a hint. Which one's wrong? Initials.
Cary Grant is right. But
Ralph Bellamy?
No.
I don't know.
The mayor. The actor who played the mayor.
Okay.
He was the same height as Cary Grant.
Okay. What is Cary Grant? Like 6'2" or something
3.
perfect? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's no Aaron Taylor Johnson.
No. So here's one for the audience, folks.
Okay.
According to the Webster's definition, if you know what Webster is, the term His Girl Friday or Girl Friday was first used in 1940, the year that the film was released. What does it mean, and what famous novel does the name refer to?
Oh, I know that, but I won't say it. I know, but why didn't you ask me that one? I do know that.
What the heck? Sorry, but if you do know that, comment below, enter the answer, and you too could get a shout out on the Reel Watchlist Plus.
Number 1, the front page. A ruthless editor tries to get his top reporter to cover one more crime story before he retires and goes off to settle down and get married. And it stars our favorites, Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau. Number 2, the Philadelphia story, 1940. After a rich woman's ex-husband and a tabloid reporter turn up just before her planned remarriage, she begins to learn the truth about herself. Katharine Hepburn has to choose between Cary Grant and Jimmy Stewart in this farcical comedy. Some choice, huh? I think I'd choose Cary Grant. Sorry, Jimmy. Bringing Up Baby from 1938. While trying to secure a $1 million donation for his museum, a befuddled paleontologist, played by Cary Grant, is pursued by a flaky and often irritating heiress, Katharine Hepburn, and her pet leopard baby. Very famous movie. It's Cary Grant in his comedic form. It happened one night from 1934, remembered for its iconic hitchhiking scene. A rogue reporter trailing a runaway heiress for a big story joins her on a bus heading from Florida to New York, and they end up stuck with each other when the bus leaves them behind at one of the stops along the way. Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert steer the wheel on this comedy. And number 5, this is great. Arsenic and Old Lace from 1944. Mortimer Brewster, a.k.a. Cary Grant, a Brooklyn writer of books about the futility of marriage, risks his reputation after he decides to tie the knot. Things grow very complicated when he learns that his beloved maiden aunts, Abby and Martha, are serial killers. It is really funny. His uncle thinks he's Teddy Roosevelt, and it's a great performance by Raymond Massey as a Frankenstein-type character. All screwballs.
So now that we've gone through His Girl Friday, where do we go next?
Well, I don't even know, because you know why? I'm like I like this, but I'm getting a little drunk. So Joe, you gotta join me wherever the hell I go. And we never know where we're going until we go there.